fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane, but the memory remains.
Okay. What's up, motherfuckers? It's time for letter. It's time for the letter, sorry. This is part 4. And honestly, I don't remember when the last time, or what the last time brought, so. Oh yeah, it was, Zach and Hannah. Yeah. Not about to see anything new, am I? Not really. And I'm barely even into the recording, I'm already yawning. Goddamn, let's go. Just as large and extravagant. And just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde Mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, The Darkest Hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite.
The insinuated accent is a lot better. Like, that made it a whole lot better.
What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he quickly recovers, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French.
Yeah, I know bits and pieces myself. I mean, it's actually not that hard of a language.
You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents.
As I'm taking a sip of my drink, no less.
Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
No, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It's just been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. You just met him. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around. A bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by in a breeze, and somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me a strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agree to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't odd. That is how I am. Zachary's the one that's being odd. Why, anyone else would have absolutely welcomed the extra attention I gave them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works, and if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody's shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. There's an innuendo there that I'm not going to touch on. All it was is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, a gentle sway of the hips as I move around. That sounds like flirting. Zachary grew and grew more red every time he noticed. It's probably not the only thing that grew, too. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I feel.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted.
Why, are you just gonna admit that?
Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? Well, I mean, I'm not sure I want to, though. Well, I mean, if he asks for it, I mean, kinda gotta do
I'll
it.
stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Yeah, of course, Uncle. That's all you gotta do. All you gotta do is say so.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but
He gestures to the ring on my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I'm too forward is not a common occurrence, I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
no. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Oh. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and assume he's about 24 years old. I mean, that's not too bad. I mean, people have gone longer without any of that. I mean, just take a look at the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin. I mean, I'm sure there's someone there.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
That's a little more than flirting. I can't help it. I really, really can't help it. And I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely, by my catty smile on my face, it is obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I fail to contain certainly gives it away, if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammers and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No. Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man.
Huh?
I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
I can too, but not well.
You can? Oh my. Wonderful serenades as well then.
More like hardcore heavy metal.
Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
More like to photograph you as you're dying, because, I mean, if the last QuickTime event was anything to give away, there's a good chance I'm probably going to, well, get my ass munched on. Especially if I end up going down this route, because I'm scared to think what this QuickTime event's going to be. Which, honestly, that's actually getting dangerously close. I mean, look at that. It's the entire page away, but I mean, it's fucking there and it's looming.
Course, I'll even deliver them personally. Just, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johans comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his brow, he has heard only the tail end of the...
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof, Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing himself within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hana. And you too, Hansy.
It was nice to meet you, Zach Honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods and the grin on his, he nods with a grin on, fucking hell, English. He nods and the grin on his face, as we said, his, can't speak, as we say our goodbyes, is the sweetest that I have ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with a relatively tiny bicycle? He doesn't have a car. Okay. Again, how old is this man? Anyway, relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket in the front, and suitcase hooked on the back. I watched as he went down the path back to Anselm Village until he was nothing more than a blip on the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Just real quickly, this still isn't the right place. And the funny thing is, I done forgot what the fuck I was about to do, too. Now, what do you bet the grudge bitch is gonna show up? It is dark. For a moment, I thought for a second, I thought the electric work was not up to par. But that clearly is not the case, as every other room is brightened with artificial lights. Finding the light switch was a monumental task considering the size of my unfamiliarity, or the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. Yeah, one of them places where you can be sitting there like, I wish I had some kind of weapon of some sort so I can fend off the grudge bitch that's wanting to eat my ass. Takes longer than I thought to find a switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle and there's a distinct feeling of being watched. Like I said, get your ass eat. It unsettles me and only spurs me on in my search. I'd be fucking off. And when I do find the lights, there's a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Oh, he was the one watching. There at the end of the hall is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. I've never seen green alcohol. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. I have never seen green wine. I've seen white wine and red wine, but I've never seen green. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid. Yeah, see, they even called it. After seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Is absinthe green? And next thing, isn't that like pure fucking alcohol? Like, isn't that the shit that would like give you pancreatitis immediately? I think that's what I'm looking for. Or at the very least damage your liver upon drinking it. At least if it's a big glass.
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself?
Well, I mean, that shit's... It's like Everclear. It'll knock you on your ass within like one sip. I found that out the hard way.
Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me.
What?
Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
And that would be the moment I'd walk my happy ass back out.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
Well, there is no right answer there, because it's obvious that's the wrong answer because, well, jealousy. And that's a lie, and, well, I don't know if Hansi was there. So, there's no right answer.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
Oh, thank God.
You were?
The way he just says you were,
You were?
it's like, I don't know why I find that funny. For a moment, he looks skeptical. I can tell by the gleam in his eyes and the way he sits up in attention. He thinks I'm lying. But I see no point in bringing up Zachary and aggravating him. I did tend to the gardens for a bit, so it's not a complete lie. Just a little white lie. Besides, I know just how to please him. Should I be worried? Sauntering over and circling around him, I placed my fingers on his shoulders. That sounded so wrong. Please, oh please, don't go down that road. I may have a good grasp on the editing for the computer, but not that good. He lets out a little groan before melting like butter as I massage his shoulders. There I go again, mispronouncing words. Shoulders.
I had to make sure they didn't ruin your favorite daffodils.
Oh, that is wonderful.
I'm not sure if he means the massage or the flowers, but I'll take it. This is better than a fight.
So, absinthe.
Just one glass. Loosh.
What does lushed mean? Is that like... Well, it's not watered down, but...
I suppose I can let this one go. A bit too late anyway, you've already drank half the thing. But remember your doctor's orders.
Yes, I'll try to drink less.
Try.
Hey, I'm only human. Do you want one?
No, thank you.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. The grand feast has been served, well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. That doesn't look near about as good as the last time we saw food on the screen. A platter of native oysters for starters, a tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. Honestly, all that flew over my head with the exception of oysters. That looks like flan. Some Mexican food, well, it looks like. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge puddling with custard. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are completely cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. You should have thought about that before buying the house. Even with its warm tone and homey decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I've faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope to be a long and happy life. Yeah, long and happy is not exactly in the cards, especially with how the last QuickTime event goes on. I'm sorry for harping on it, but seriously, I'm still a little sore about that. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. I was right. Grudge bitch, let's go. The wailing is far away and muffled, yet at the same time it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Yeah, I know y'all can hear that too. I mean, in fact, if y'all can't. Yep. Oops. Hearing it says, who is that? Why are you investigating? You don't investigate shit. This is why I would survive This is why I would survive a horror movie. Grab the shotgun, sit in the room, and wait for the motherfucker to try to get me. Just sit in the corner. Wait for him to try to get me. He opens that door, comes through the window, pow, bang, there you go. Don't investigate shit. Whoever is in trouble ain't my problem. But I digress. Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sounds into the kitchen. Well, I mean, at least you got a couple weapons there, but... And into the wine cellar hatch. Now this is just ripped from Evil Dead.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I'm curious and concerned, but there's no way I'm going down into that dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, which considers himself quite the connoisseur. More than connoisseuring, that's more like alcoholism. However, I cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not wholly benevolent. Let's see. Well, I already know which one's gonna lead to a QuickTime event, so let's just go ahead and get this over with. How'd I guess? Oh boy. Why did I choose this? Why did I do that? I'm gonna go ahead and sit up, get my shit positioned, get a quick swig of my drink. I may not be going down there, but there's no point in talking through closed doors. Or hatches in this case. The thing refuses to budge at first until there's a soft click, and it easily swings free. As I lift up the hatch and look down the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. This is the worst setup for a fucking scare, because she's gonna be just fucking, hello! Like Lindsay Lohan, she's gonna be like Ahmed. Hello! I am Lindsay Lohan! Is that backmask? I regret nothing. It isn't just a sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, it's also the darkness. It's suffocating. As I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. That's It's honestly not a bad assumption of what's going to happen, but I can hear her whispering, calling for me. She wants me, needs me. She wants to drown me, pull me down and suffocate me in her embrace until I sink into the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting yet foreboding. She's calling to me from in there, isn't she? And I do want to help, I do, but the shadows threaten to creep out, and the feeling of apprehension keeps me in place. Already, it paints the room in a darker light. There's a lurching sensation as the feeling of that follows after is hard to explain. It feels like I'm watching myself from the sidelines, a specter to my own actions, or lack thereof. I will myself to snap out of this detached feeling, and to move, to do anything except stare at myself. Yeah, I missed that sub-event. Here we go! And for a moment, I see the look of fear on my face. I'm back in my body, and the hooks in my stomach are no longer the only one. There are hooks everywhere, tearing and pulling at my skin, flesh and bone. They pull me in every direction, and it hurts. It hurts so much that I just can't bring myself to scream out.
Help me!
What? Press tab. Did I do it? Yes, I did. It scared the shit out of me. I was not ready for that. And whenever I missed that first one, I was getting ready to just say, fuck it and reload. I wake from a deep slumber. Now, that wasn't so bad. I have hope now that I won't be getting my ass chewed on in this run. Unless I come across this one, because I'm sure this one's going to be just as bullshit as the last one, or other one. I wake from a deep slumber. Goddamn yawns. It takes a while with the fog that has settled in my head and with my heavy limbs. But soon enough, I manage to look around. I'm in our bedroom already, although I do not recall going there. Luke slumbers beside me, looking peaceful and angelic. Doesn't matter. I'm safe. And I feel better than ever. Tomorrow, better days will come. Better days will not come. Luke is already gone by the time I arise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, it's every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day. Although, unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. The grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wrights mansion. Every person of importance from Luxembourg was invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had acquiesced. I think that's how you said it. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys, just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And, on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around, then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where?
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I've already gotten used to him. I should be, by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain and whinge on about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo amongst high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Ali. But put your trust in the wrong person, and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see.
That's code word for cunt.
That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I am being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details, but I thought myself clever with the plans to dress it up as gossip. Marianne raised a brow, makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
What do I think of the matter, ma'am?
Ooh, sub-story, or sub-event, or something.
No, what do you think of my hair? It feels so lifeless and dull today, and that's no good for a party.
Sarcasm.
And I think I'm breaking out into zits.
Now that you mention it, there is something different.
There better not be something on my face.
I wouldn't worry about that. You do look a little paler than usual, ma'am. I apologize if I'm crossing any lines here, but have you been resting properly?
Huh. You'd think I get a bit tanned with how sunny it's been lately. Don't you worry. I feel right as rain and never better. But back to the matter at hand.
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Yes.
Be honest with me, Marianne.
Always.
I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Yes, always honesty.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her on a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
And it's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We put up a lot of acts to... We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hasn't been... English. Although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yeah.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else.
Well, that's one way of wording it.
Someone who won't even give him the time of the day.
The funny thing is, like, well, I mean, you done heard the exchange. We all know what she's talking about here.
Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
You clearly haven't met the grudge, bitch.
But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her word makes me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their chorale anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years. Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought of these small spats, these little disagreements will turn into all-out resentment. The idea that we'll grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. Union turned sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I do still love him, and I can feel that there is still a part of him that loves me in return. This is actually probably because of my relationship with... Oh, wait a minute. That had me panicked for a second. Just seeing that completely blank. It's probably because I have the relationship above the threshold there. I'm thinking that's what these little, I'm thinking that's what these are. And these sub-events are if, you know, a other event. What I'm assuming is, well, if this this path was taken, it would lead to these right here. So. Yeah, and I'm almost to the end of the chapter, too. Well, I say almost the end, that's still going to be a long-ass time. Especially if I get this last one, which I hope I do. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. There's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure of how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down
I
or not.
really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive, because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
And that sounds like someone I know. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our... oh, shit. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for Wright Enterprises in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Butlers, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains have move about in droves, carrying crockery. What the fuck is going on with these words? Crockery and serveware. Okay, well, serveware, that's clearly plates and bowls and fucking shit like that. What the fuck is a crockery? Good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. Yeah, that's the last time we'll be seeing them, I'm sure. To peruse the stocks, actually, you know what? The cellar might be safe considering that I went and checked it out. No. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
Snails are for the dishes? What do you mean? A string quartet? Fuck it. Readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor where thousands fill vases, wealth, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Shit. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. Looks more like a cake. It is followed by, speaking of, it is followed by a simple cake, just the 5-tier white chiffon? Oh, fuck it. One with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. Wait, there's edible gold? Shit, that's something I'm gonna look up. Seriously, that needs to be looked up. Is gold edible? Apparently, I'm not the first person. Theoretically, you can eat your fill of 24-karat gold without falling ill. Pure gold is chemically inert and passes through the human digestive system without being absorbed into the body. Non-edible gold leaf, which is used for gilding, sometimes contains copper, which can be toxic in high doses. Well, I'll be damned. It is edible, kinda. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all this, I find myself unable to focus or take care of any of it. I still have our discussion running through my mind and looks at all this, and looking at all this today, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, simple gathering, and only with select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them. Honestly, I wouldn't want any fucking politicians or paparazzi in my damn house either.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke right. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? Fucking yawns, come back. What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman. Yeah, that just come out of my mouth. I used to be my own woman. Yep. Who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Seriously. Just think about how awkward that sounded. You're a fucking man and you say, I'm my own woman. That doesn't sound right. Or... Surely I was already a social butterfly that I... Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, and it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom, so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. Man, I wish I could do all that shit. I'd be fucking rich. Being able to figure out the stock market. I can barely do fucking basic math. But there was a calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker, even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. What child doesn't? Failing that, I turned to others, looking for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it was. And Luke? Oh, Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married where we talked about everything and anything. From big things to business, society, philosophy, and little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we liked cats or dogs more. we both preferred dogs. Cool. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that my husband preferred wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who'll always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. Well, I don't think he likes docile women, because if he didn't, because if he did, he wouldn't have got pissed off whenever I chose to keep quiet. The first choice of Hannah's path. Did I read that? A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all of his aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I could fall further into the introspective spit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering in front of the mansion with vehicles and most of every kind. Grand Tourers, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car to convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valet. I fucking love high-end muscle cars. They look beautiful. Hell, I like muscle cars in general. I fucking love Challengers. It's like my dream car there. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly from those who thought it was too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event in years for Luxembourg. So far, who knows what we'll plan in the winter holidays.
Welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm as if not strange sunlight we were experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals, and whether these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also a few who are not here to further cement their place in high society. Oh, hey Ash, how's it going? Last time I saw you, you kind of looked a little flustered. Of course, that was before I nearly got my ass munched on as Isabella. Again. Such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Or the rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure as to why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, photographer as well. He talks to a few of the other media crews with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
Story event. I had invited Father Norman too. Oh, a priest. Oh, sub-event. Well, I call these sub-events, but really not. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion and my request, aside from the small donation to the church. Aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through the nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. He probably ended up getting cursed too. And then there are people like the Chief Inspector, people who I can never be too sure about, people who stand on the border between being suspicious and being
Thank you for the
trustworthy.
invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. I bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other lady. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal. You've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. Could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought the gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as those carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Yeah, still haven't quite made it to this. I get the feeling this is going to be like a 3-way choice. I don't know. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure the guests are well fed, have good company, and make them generally enjoy themselves. So when my open remarks are done, then when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I'm pulled aside. Yawning. For a while, I stay in a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when I'm not any, and when they're not, not anymore, and where they're not, when they're not anymore watching me, when they're not watching me anymore. Goddamn! Every time it's something that's grammatically wrong with the sentence, it just throws me off. Like completely. It starts making it hard for me to read. Until I was like, trying to sound it out. I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. The local banker having trouble with his daughter, he wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in the security which should be brought up to the higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Tough shit. Then there's the rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinct locks. She also lacks the grace of the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery that what occupies her own attention with the glance she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a
You
drink.
would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up.
Just want to make sure. Okay, so hers isn't as low as Ashton's or Isabel's. Speaking of, haven't seen Isabel since the beginning, so... And I did pass that QuickTime event, so...
Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do not... The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it was a wonder he didn't hear what I said.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I have never seen a face grow so red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel a burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, though. Oops, wrong one. Just check one last time. Okay, I'm still on that one, so jury's out on which way I'm going. It's chilling, though I am used to enduring the gaze of others. This one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Every time I see her, it scares the shit out of me. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty. She looks like a beggar. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half a mind to call security at her when her mouth breaks into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. Well, I mean, by all accounts, you kinda are. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then I blink and she's gone. The buzz of the party
I'll
returns.
keep that in mind, but... Are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Reunion! I got a trophy. No, I didn't mean to do that. The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She didn't bring me food when there was no need to doing so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she bought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you. You were the cutest little thing with glasses. And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Bet it was Ash.
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look more miserable as her body language. Just one more check, okay. As her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited her mother with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky.
Well, I mean, anyone with half a damn brain cell could see that. Well, anyone with half a brain cell and 2 functioning eyes, or a functioning eye.
Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
Yeah, the kind that involves getting your ass chewed on by the grudge bitch.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall
I'm sure the
correctly.
daughter of the 2 greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense.
That's just men.
I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Again, that's just men. I can attest to that for myself.
Well, that won't do. What if you 2 become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with. It's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
Well, she's right about
There's
that.
going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans.
Well, she's got that right.
It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or that pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. Feels ridiculous remembering all these years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It's so easy to say such things when then with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moments as I mulled over what she just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There's no time to ponder over that, however, as a hushed descent descends upon the once lively crowd. This cannot end well. Oops. The music and strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors to the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their faces. So it can only be one person, or rather one man. There's only one man who is audacious enough to arrive to his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to his presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks, how they listen and enraptured, even though all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands there, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he's not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side to him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There is a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right and shake Luke's hand and greet him personally. Praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes and she's already spitting venom. Who be's this? Johannes restrains her, taking care to not unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. But that does little to deter her rage, as the man has no choice but to let her go, lest the unborn child be hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as to see how the empty glass of wine in her hand. And you don't drink when you're pregnant, lady. How much has she imbibed? Imbibed? Oh, fuck it.
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing a finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out amongst the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath. I still haven't made it to one of these paths yet. I'm not ticked off by by this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she's endangering her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable. That looks more like he's about to kill the bitch.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I am just about to ask the same exact thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Do don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
What?
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad.
He's hiding something.
Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard! You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
What? What? Honestly, that's kind of what I was going through. I just didn't voice it.
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me! I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Well, clearly you can't. Okay, so I completely missed this one. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, considering that there's a QuickTime event there, but fuck it. Ain't nothing I can do about it now. But this is very bad. Well. It is now that Johannes returns with security along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never. He will never go as far as to sleep with another woman, right?
I'm so sorry for her behaviour. She's been under a lot of stress, and the out-talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing there here but the ramblings of a drunk? Of course they're nothing but ramblings of a drunk. Fuck that. Look, a drunk man's words is a sober man's thoughts. That's fucking true. Okay? If she's drunk and she's saying this shit, I'm taking at least a little bit of truth out of it. Because, I mean, if she's sleeping with Lee and Luke, you know, you can't exactly tell whose baby it is until the baby's born. They, you know, who does he look like? Or, hell, get a DNA test. But, while I don't think that he got her pregnant, I do believe that he slept with her. Jealousy of this wonderful marriage, this happily ever after that I have with my prince.
Take that troll up out of here immediately!
Yeah, this isn't going the way I was kind of hoping it would, considering, oops, wrong one. Yeah, shit's about to hit the fan, big time.
And see to it that she isn't allowed to hear, or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxbourne.
To be banned from anything with the Right's name on it is basically social suicide. We practically own half of Luxembourg, and there isn't a single establishment of repute that isn't under our patronage, one way or the other. This is mercy. I can do so much worse. At least this way, she can move out of the city and never ever return. I have stayed my hand in the face of her grievous fault and her bold-faced lies when she deserves so much more. I can take away her business, have her factory shut down. It is too easy to ruin her life until she is just nothing. And it's also tempting. I can only see red. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is nearly deafening. There are worried, almost fearful glances from some of the guests, yet at the same time, I can still hear them whispering. But as long as they hold their tongues and don't interfere, none of those matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eye. You know what this might be because? It's because, motherfucker, I have a higher relationship with Luke. Oops. It almost seems like he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on. More than anything.
Everyone, please go back to enjoying the party. Don't let that mess of a woman ruin your night.
You heard her! Strike up the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
It takes a bit for the crowd to stir again in the face of all that, but like most people in the elite, it is brushed under the rug and forgotten in favor of merriment. He offers his hand to me with a small smirk and a bow.
That was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
Milady, would you like to dance?
With pleasure, my prince.
No one is going to get between me and my darling husband. Not Rochelle or any other rich, snooty scubber. Fuck it. Not some common whore or an ambitious maid. No one is going to get near him in that manner. Not while I'm around. And if I have anything to say about it, no one is going to get near him at all. Yeah, again, I kind of wanted to hit this one because, you know, shit happens, but fuck it. The day after proved to be a difficult task. My darling prince is a man of many connections, a man of the people. He is always talking to one person or the other, and I am always left alone, unable to stay at his side at all times. It is frustrating, but I have to be understanding. Besides, I don't see why he can't just stay at home. The least I can do is make sure that I have his time. The least I can do is make sure I have his time while he's here. Wait a minute, I get it. Which, in and of itself, isn't as easy as it sounds. Not with that bloody valet and his Not with that bloody valet of his tailing him around.
Johans! Where's my tie?
Around your fucking neck?
I can't find it anywhere.
It's around your neck.
Have you looked around your neck? It should be there if it's not on your clothes horse, sir.
It isn't often that I'm awake this early, at least early enough to find my darling preparing for a day with his valet attending to him. It is an old-fashioned way to go through the morning. He's able to dress himself after all. But he says that it's really makes the day easier for him to have someone else do his tedious tasks, albeit with a grimace. Though, if that manservant of his dislikes his duty so much, I'll gladly do it in his stead. Okay.
I've got it, my prince. Come here.
Well, someone's up and at them especially early this morning. Here I thought you'd be knackered by all the dancing we did last night at the party. And after that, well...
A saucy little wink and oh... I missed the innuendo. A saucy little wink and a smile is what he offers me as I drew close to fix his tie, and when the valet reaches out with his perfume... don't you mean cologne? Oh, fuck it. I quickly take it and shoo him aside. This close, his scent fills me with... goddamn. His scent fills me with the smell of white flowers, coca, cardamom? And almonds. It is intoxicating. And the sight of the two of us in a vanity mirror is picturesque and perfect. Yeah, I get the feeling Grudge Bitch is about to show up. Can I help it if I feel a bit resentful for another person to get to do this to Luke every morning when I could have done it myself? No. No,
You're
I can't.
dismissed, Shroken. I have this. Go on then. You'll be summoned if you're needed.
There's a curious look, furrowed brows before any sign that he cares has wiped. There's a curious look, furrowed brows before any sign that he cares is wiped from his expression.
Very well. If you need me, I'll be somewhere that isn't here.
He realizes just how awkward it
You
is.
could have let the man do his job.
And I say there's no need for him. I can take care of you just fine, my prince. Just where are you off to this morning anyway?
I hate the thought of him leaving me. How long have I been going? Hour 30. It feels like an eternity without him here. In this lonely place that doesn't feel like a home quite yet. Although the mansion is really growing on me, slowly but surely. I want to be at his side, yet he fails to see such an obvious thing.
Business. Where else?
Why can't you just work from home? You can afford to, can't you?
Business needs a firm hand and a personal touch, Buttercup. Besides, I can't stay cooped up forever in here. I'll go mad.
Well, you'll come back home as soon as possible, won't you? It's so awfully lonely.
I could.
Oops,
I
shit.
don't see why I should, though. This hasn't been a problem before.
It's so awfully lonely here without you, my prince.
Yeah, now you're just being a dick.
You know I'll come home when I come home.
Just get home as soon as you can. For me, won't you?
No promises. It's business after all. I can't just stand up in the middle of the meeting and tell them the wife wants me home.
Then forget those peasants.
He stops and stares, looking perturbed for a moment before shaking his head. Is he feeling ill? That's more reason for him to stay home here with me, isn't it? Well, I think I already know what he's looking at. I am being a good wife, worrying about my husband and all.
Be good, dear. And stay safe. There's been all sorts of dodgy characters seen about the property. I'll be leaving Johans with you, just in case you need anything, and to be on the safe side, okay?
Well, dodgy characters on the property, I can only assume he's talking about the grudge bitch.
But I don't need a valet. I need you here with me.
I'll be closing a big deal with a pharmaceutical company soon, if things go according to plan. Maybe, after that, I can take a breather for a bit.
No maybes. You have to promise me.
I only need him.
I'm going to be late, Hannah. The longer this takes, the later I'll get home.
Fine. Shall I see you out?
If that's what you want.
At the front door, his valet waits, ready to accompany him for the rest of the day when he is told to stay and attend to me. I still don't like it. It looks like he doesn't either. But I ignore him in favor of the one who really matters. I hold Luke's hand in mine and give him a deep kiss. It makes my heart flutter as I see the way his eyes close during our moment of passion. Parting for air, I can only
Have a
smile.
good day, my prince.
Right. Off I go.
I still don't want him to leave. He should just stay forever. Wait a minute. I did kind of fuck up the QuickTime event, just missed one of them. Not only that, I've missed all these sub-events. Oh my god, did I turn Hana into Yandere?
If you could let go of my hand, please, Hannah.
It's just so hard to let him go when I finally have him in my grasp. To watch him enter the car and, to watch him enter his car and leave pains me so. It leaves behind an aching, gaping hole like a hunger and a need. I'm not content until he returns.
If it fits you, breakfast is ready in the parlor, madam.
If anything, I'll be in a foul mood until he returns.
Leave and go practice your bloody sodomy elsewhere.
What?
Peculiar.
When I turn around and hiss at him to leave, he's already gone, and that suits me just fine. I want to be alone without anyone bothering me. I want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, with only the halls as company. Those damned halls which will hold our memories. Just he and I. There'll be no one else I need but my prince. Not some cheeky servant who is just living it up because he's Luke's right-hand man. Rubbish like him deserves... Okay, now I'm starting to stop liking Hannah. There's something wrong with this picture. This is like a complete 180 from our fucking personality before, and I'm worried that I fucked something up. He deserves to be thrown and locked in. Why the fuck would you go in here? The attic. Without realizing it, my feet have brought me here. Oh, yeah, it's exactly why. What do you bet, now that I'm thinking about it? If I didn't do this, it would have led me down this path. And if I didn't have a good relationship with Luke, it would have led me down this path. It doesn't matter. Without realizing it, my feet have brought me here. This empty, lifeless room disgusts me. The longer I stare at it, the harder it gets to breathe, as if the walls are moving in around me. Yet at the same time, it pulls me in. I hear a whispering, and curiosity gets the better of me as I look under the bed. Please don't make me look under the fucking bed. There is, on the far corner, a loose floorboard. The wood, despite having swelled and warped over the years, is strangely familiar, comforting in its feel. Though it's not merely what my hand searches for as I reach for it, it takes quite an effort, but soon I am able to lift it, and inside, underneath the dust and cobwebs, what the hell? Lies a pendant, warm and familiar. I don't know what the Japanese kanji is, but I don't know. And I swear, if I close my eyes, I can feel it beating in my palm. I feel a thrill, though. I almost feel like a thief for taking this, but it's mine. So without delay, I hide in our room. I'm a little worried here. I mean... In front of the vanity, I see the way my eyes shine as I remove the clasp from my old necklace and put on this new one. Right where it belongs. Oh God. This is, I might not have done a good. This might have been a bad. It fits a lot better than the old one. I can still feel it weighs, I can still feel it as it weighs on my
Right
chest.
where it belongs.
Yeah, I fucked up. He's fucking 30 years old, and he's not had a single kiss, date, or girlfriend. Oh, he's the same religion as me, though. Agnostic. Means he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. Anyway, education, diploma in digital film, PI, photography and filmography, documentaries, cooking, acoustic guitar, and video games. You know, just out of curiosity, though. Seriously, just... No, oops. Load the game.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
I'm really just curious. That's why I'm doing this. See if I can just call him out.
You, in the cellar. Do come out. We don't... You... Why don't...
Fuck,
No,
I'm
you...
doing this
Why...
the old-fashioned way. Or no, maybe not. Skip. All text. Apply. Now, because I didn't check the cellar, I want to see what happens if I go down that other one. Be honest.
Be honest with...
And normally I don't like doing this, but... yeah. Yep, I was right. Okay, so good relationship, bad relationship, and whatever the fuck happens here. So, alright, okay, I can get behind it, I suppose. Load the game. That was like a little test there. See if I was right about what happens there. Anyway. Oh shit, I was about to cut the video and then I accidentally fucking hit the wrong fucking button and ended up ending the video anyway. But anyway, save one more time. If you liked the video, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video. See ya.